A couple days ago, someone shared a story about my daughter, Sarah, that I think has something to teach all of us. Stay tuned. Hello, friends. Pastor Tim Westermeyer here. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. This episode is airing on the Wednesday after Labor Day, September 8th. I believe is the date. It is indeed September 8th. So I'm actually taping this on Tuesday the 7th, the day after Labor Day. This is also the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Our Jewish brothers and sisters celebrate that as the beginning of the year or the new year. And of course, this is also in a different kind of way for our culture, the start of, some call it the real start of the year, right after Labor Day, and school begins and so forth. Turns out that in the district my own children go to school in, school doesn't start until tomorrow. And so it turns out that that means that my daughter Sarah, who I've talked about before, is actually sitting in the studio with us today. Hello, Sarah. She does a great job of being quiet when she's with us here. And that got me thinking about a story about her that someone shared with me this past Sunday. And in today's episode, I just want to retell that story for all of us as we lean into the, again, real start of the year in the fall here. So I conducted a wedding on Sunday. It was off-site in a beautiful location down in Chaska, Minnesota. The wedding was over. I got in my car. It had actually been brought back to me in a little roundabout. And I was getting ready to drive away when someone knocked on the passenger side of the car, and I unrolled the window, and they said, "Yeah, Pastor Tim?" "Yes." They said, do you have a minute?" And I said, "Yeah, of course, absolutely." And he said, "Well, I just want to share a little story with you about your family," which got me slightly worried that one of my sons had done something terribly wrong that he was going to tell me about. And he said, no, it's a good thing. And he told me a story about something that had happened here at church a few years ago. It would have been before COVID, so I don't know if it was 2018 or 2019, at Christmas. And he was in worship, sitting, as it turned out, right behind my family. And Sarah, our daughter, and I've talked about this before, Sarah has profound special needs. And this gentleman was sitting there in our worship on Christmas Eve, observing my family and particularly paying attention to our daughter, Sarah. And as he retold the story to me, he said, I was kind of feeling a little sad. I mean, she's a beautiful young woman now, but clearly has all kinds of challenges and difficulties. So I think he was feeling sad for us, feeling sad for her. And Sarah, at that very moment, he said, turned around, looked me right in the eyes, and just took her hand and put it on my hand, as if to say, it's okay. We're all okay. You know, God's with you. And then she turned around and, the rest of the service continued. His family saw what had happened, and they were sort of like, what was that all about? And he said, I got to tell you later. And now, 2 or 3 years later now, he finally sees me at this wedding. He rushes out to my car, and he says, gosh, I've been meaning to tell you this for a long time, but I just want to tell you this story, which I was grateful for. So you know who you are. Thank you to you for recounting that story. And I guess a couple thoughts about it. One, it's a reminder of the mystery, I would say, of Sarah, but also the mystery of all of life. What he told me did not really surprise me about Sarah. She does not able to communicate, and yet she understands in some deeply intuitive ways very clearly what's going around her in ways that I cannot begin to explain based on her responses. So I don't know exactly what was going on with her, but I would not be surprised at all if she recognized that this gentleman needed a little comforting, and she was able, in her own way, to offer that. And the other thing is, it's related to that point. Again, as we begin the real year, which is always a busy, frenetic, stress-filled time, always. It's always that kind of a time right now during the year, and it's maybe particularly so for all kinds of reasons, not least of which is the pandemic. I guess I would encourage you, one, to take a breath for yourself. I guess that's sort of unrelated to the story about Sarah, but then maybe to take a cue, take a lesson from Sarah, and reach out to someone. It doesn't have to be in a big way, but just tell someone, hey, you're doing a good job. Give someone a pat on the back. Tell someone you're grateful for them. You are grateful for them in your life. Tell someone you love them. Give someone a hug, right? One of the lessons that little event from Sarah taught me or reminded me of is that seemingly very small actions, looking someone in the eye, putting a hand on their hand, can profoundly impact our lives for a very long time. So as we start the next program year, the next school year, the real year, I would encourage us all to take a cue from my daughter Sarah and do some small act of kindness, some small act of generosity to someone who is close to you in your own life. I do hope you all have a great year. I hope you're good to yourselves and to others. And as always, be well, stay in touch, and God bless.